We'll ask now if all that can and will stand. Would you just in your own way, in silence, a word of prayer? Amen. Oh, pledge. Colonel, would you lead us in the pledge?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Thank you, Councilman, for the pledge. The minutes of November 21st has been received. Resolutions and special recognitions. At this time, I'm going to give over to the floor to the mayor, and he will come with an introduction and further comments for us tonight. Mayor?
If I could ask Ms. Joy McKee to come forward. Joy has had some very special honors and recognition, and I think she's going to bring some people up and honor them along with her. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council. Well, I'd like for Doc Holliday to come on down and join me. You know, Operation Green Team gets to partner with the Solid Waste Disposal Authority and Covanta Energy on lots of great projects. The last project we had was our electronics, waste recycling, and mercury collection. And in just a second, I'm going to let Doc kind of give you a synopsis of that. But this partnership's been going on for a long time, and it helps our community. All those old TVs and televisions and monitors and computers and cell phones and things that we don't know what to do with, well, they get recycled because of the Solid Waste Disposal Authority. And we're just proud of what we're going to tell you in a few minutes of what we did this year. But I want to recognize two young gentlemen that came. We had lots of volunteers, but these two gentlemen stayed all day long. They worked tirelessly. They're from Westminster Christian Academy, and if they'll stand now, it's Matthew Edwards and Dakota Morgan. And they worked just, I mean, it didn't matter. They picked up the biggest TVs and everything that they could do. And Matthew actually is our own Robin Cox's son, so we had a little in with him. But, you know, a lot of people don't realize how big of an impact that the students can make this day and time. And certainly, here's two fine examples, and we wanted to make sure they got a little bit of recognition for all that they did for Operation Green Team. So let's give them a round of applause. Thank you guys so much. Now I'm going to let Doc, I'm going to turn it over to him, let him give you the good news.
Thank you, Joy. On behalf of the Solid Waste Disposal Authority, I'd like to thank the city of Huntsville. You've been our partner in the past in this endeavor. We did one of these area-wide cleanups about 4 years ago, or the take-back programs. Our other partners were also Madison County and the city of Madison, who helped in this. You know, can't thank you enough really for supplying the backbone and the hard work of Operation Green Team, landscape management, and the volunteers. To kind of give you an idea, we had 418 cars come through that day. We collected a little over 74,000 pounds worth of electronic waste. The bulk of that was actually what we were looking to get, and that is the old CRT, if you remember, the big computer monitors people used to have, the bigger television sets, even the projection television sets. A lot of those have a lot of heavy metals, particularly lead in them. We were able to get those out of the waste stream. We were also really successful this year in taking back some mercury. We took back over 110 pounds of mercury as part of the take back, and that's just phenomenal. But it wouldn't be possible without the support we get from you, the support we get from Operation Green Team and landscape management. It also wouldn't be possible if we didn't have a citizenry that really cares and wants to do the right thing. What I would like to remind everyone is that although this was a one-time event done about every 3 or 4 years, The first Saturday of each month, as part of our household hazardous waste collection program, we actually take back from residents and households these same electronic devices. And so if they'll come between 8 and noon to the facility there on Lehman Ferry Road, it's 4100 Lehman Ferry Road, unless it's a holiday weekend, in which case we move the collection. But if they'll bring them, we'll be happy to help them unload them and also make sure that they're recycled and disposed of properly. But thank you very much. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Doc. Thanks, Mayor.
Thank you, Joy. Thank you, Doc. Thank you for all your work. Mr. President, this time I would like to introduce, and for introduction only, ordinance number 13, and it will be numbered at a later time. This is the ordinance that we are talking about, that we've been talking about for the last week and over the last probably 7 months, when we were talking about Restore Our Roads. It's a roads package for the city of Huntsville. The roads package comes at a cost. And we as a city have worked for 7 to 8 months to get this in place. In March of 2013, when we had a conversation with the highway director, John Cooper, and we learned that the state did not have the money to meet the obligations and commitments that we had, and that our road projects were cut. We found out that we had, on the 5-year plan, we had one road project, and that was County Line Road interchange at I-565. That was the one road project that we had for the next 5 years. And when we started looking at that, we started realizing that our community could not afford that. Any growing community, any prosperous community, any community that you wanted to keep a quality of life could not afford to have that kind of lack of roads being built in your community. We started looking at the road systems that we would have problems with. One of them is University Drive, Highway 72 West. Once you get past Providence and go all the way out to County Line Road, it's almost in gridlock right now. And we felt like we needed to work to solve that gridlock. If you look at Shields Road and Moore's Mill at the end of I-565, we have 41,000 people a day coming through that intersection. And that intersection is almost at gridlock and needs work, needs help. When you look at the north and south parkway in the city of Huntsville, and you look where we've been under construction for the past 15 years, you see areas that are blighted, areas that need reconstruction, areas that need to be put back as most of Huntsville is already. And you're not going to have that kind of work until you have those overpasses done. The overpasses at Lily Flag and Bird Springs were scheduled to start in 2015. The new schedule was 2019. We knew it would be 2023 or 2025 before we'd be riding on those roads. The overpasses at Maston Lake were scheduled to start in 2018. The new ALDOT date was November of 24. We knew that it would be 2027 before we'd be riding on those roads. That means another 14 years of having those roads torn up, another 14 years of not being able to start on taking back the parkway and making it into a retail corridor as it should be. We saw that as a problem. We also looked at what we needed to do as a community. So we started talking to the highway director, to the governor, and we told him that we were going to start a campaign, or Restore Our Roads campaign. And the Restore Our Roads campaign was a campaign many of you attended, many of the council members attended the press conferences, and it was talking about road projects that were essential to the city of Huntsville. After the end of the Restore Our Roads campaign came the A-TRIP funding, Alabama Transportation Road Improvement Plan, and it was a great plan for Madison County, but it didn't address our major corridors. It didn't address our major traffic carriers in the city of Huntsville or in Madison County. It addressed connector roads such as Jeff Road. It addressed areas, bridges being rebuilt, things like that. So we started looking at what we needed to do next, and we met with the governor about 8 weeks ago and the highway director, and we started talking about how we could do something on roads. Again, the problem was money. There was not money there in the state to be able to do these road projects. We talked to them and we had conversations with them and finally came up with a plan that we could put $250 million worth of road projects over the next 5 years, $50 million a year in road projects. $25 million would come from the city, $25 million would come from the state. These road projects would be projects that move traffic, that actually move traffic in on our major corridors. These road projects are something that is a necessity to this community to be able to survive, to be able to grow, to also be able to keep that quality of life that says that I have an 18-minute commute to and from work. That is something that is very important to us and very important to our community. So we worked with the governor, we worked with the highway director. Last Monday, the highway director came up and he announced those road projects. And the road projects are Shields and Moores Mill Road at the end of I-565, improvement there, Epworth Drive improvement there in 2014, which is the 2013-14 year. In 2015, in the 2015-16 year, Lily Flags and Bird Springs. The reason it's being put up first is because it's already got 95% of its engineering done, so it's ready to go. It's almost a shovel-ready project. It will take 3 years to build versus the 7 to 8 years that it traditionally has taken. Our traditional path has been to build access roads and then get the funding to build the overpasses. This will be one project, all in one, which will be bid all at one time. The access roads and the overpasses will be bid at one time. We will be able to get these overpasses done in 3 years. That is an incredible feat for the city of Huntsville and a great thing for us. In the year of 2015 and 16, University Drive from Providence, Maine to County Line Road will be improved, and that includes portions of Madison, that includes portions of Huntsville in there. The majority of that is Huntsville along that road. In 2016 and 17, we do the Northern Bypass, which is the Martin Luther King extension, and it goes from in front of the Toyota plant all the way to the Parkway. It becomes a Northern Bypass for us, becomes a major retail corridor and a major industrial corridor for us. It is something that we've been working on, Dr. Showers and I have been working on for a long time, and we finally got the funding in place to do it. The reason we have it in the 2017 year is that it's going to take that long to do the engineering to be able to move forward with it. In 2016 and 17 and 18 year, we're also going to do Cecil Ashburn and Sutton Road improvements. Anybody who lives in Hampton Cove knows that we need a second way out of that area, especially after the Governor's Drive construction and the Doug Hill Road construction. And then we'll be doing improvements there. In 2017 and 18, we'll also do Maston Lake Overpass. It'll take that long to do the engineering, and we will again do this just as we're doing on the south end. We'll do it in one contract for the access roads and for the overpasses so that we can get it done quickly and get the roads in place quickly. In 2017 and 2018, we will do South Parkway improvements from Weatherly to Hobbs Road, and those will be smart streets, super streets, traffic grids, so that we can move traffic and move traffic quickly. $208 million worth of traffic programs put up. It's one of the plans that gives us a chance to be proactive rather than reactive on our roads. That is an amazing thing for a community to be proactive on the roads. It also gives us a chance to look ahead and look in the future and make sure that we have that same 18-minute commute in the 10 years from now, 15 years from now, as we have today. And we don't overrun our infrastructure. Any of us who've been in other cities have seen cities where we've overrun our infrastructure. I grew up on the 280 corridor down in Birmingham. I saw where we overran our infrastructure, and I saw where we can never catch up. If we don't do this now, we can never catch up. The only road plan that we have in here in the state plan right now without this is the road plan for the county line interchange, which was we turned ground on 2 days ago. So, council, we are introducing this tonight. We're having a work session next Thursday at 7 p.m. to talk about it, and we're looking for a vote on it on the 19th of December. We want to quickly get a deal sealed with the Director Cooper so that we're sure that we have these road plans in place and we have a commitment from him. Director Cooper has committed to writing a contract that is both a contractual obligation to the city of Huntsville and to the state of Alabama to make this happen. The logical question that comes, where's the city going to get its $25 million? We have looked, we have worked from day one. We started looking at, over the last 5 years, we've done everything we can to cut city expenses. We cut leaf pickup. We did no fleet purchase. We've had a 10% department cuts. We've had a 10% outside agency cut. We've had a limited hiring freeze going on for 5 years. We've had an employee buyout. We've cut the capital fund by $8 million a year, so $80 million with the capital fund has been cut. We've done everything we can to make sure that we have a lean, efficient government, but there's not an additional $25 million there to build roads with. Because of that, we've looked at all the resources that we have, and the resources we have about 5 resources that are available to be able to call on so that we could pull the $25 million in. The most logical one came down to be sales tax. We are proposing in this proposal that we invest 1% of our sales tax, an additional 1% of our sales tax, in future roads for the city of Huntsville. That 1% sales tax equals about $35 million. Our legislation that you'll have in front of you requires the minimum of $25 million a year to be spent on roads. The rest of the funds can only be spent on capital projects and industrial incentives. Those are the two areas that provide jobs, that provide infrastructure, that provide for our community. This is a bold new thing. We got one email from a lady who said, well, put up toll roads and let them pay for themselves and keep your hands out of my pockets. And, we heard that from her. And there's nothing that any of us up here would rather do than to throw this away and not look at it and not have to face it. As elected officials, these are never popular decisions, but it's a necessary decision. It's something that has to be done. If we don't take care of our roads, we find our community going downhill. We find our community losing its quality of life. We find our community without the ability to have progressive growth. We have to do this. So as a necessity, that's why we brought this up. As a necessity, we think this is something that will help this community, will make this community better. We will end up as a 9% sales tax. If you look over on the chart, you'll find that Athens, Decatur, Arab, Madison are all at 9% in their sales tax. You'll find that Birmingham, Montgomery, Mobile are at 10% in their sales tax, so we'll be below them. This is nothing that anybody wants to do, but this is something that's needed. It's needed in this community because if we have a chance to build $250 million worth of roads in the next 5 years, that is an opportunity we cannot afford to pass by. So, Mr. President, tonight I am entering this ordinance, putting it forward for the council. We will pick it up next Thursday at a work session and vote on it on December 19th, if that's the council's will. Thank you, sir.
Mr. President, just for clarification, Mayor, there are 3 ordinances, not just one, and there's the sales tax ordinance, the use tax ordinance, and an excise tax ordinance.
Right, and the other 2 ordinances are already in our packet for introduction there.
Thank you, Mayor. Council members and the public, would you make this notation? Next Thursday is a work session night. We have a hearing at 5 o'clock, another hearing at 6 o'clock, and we hope to start the session dealing with the tax increase right after the hearing. So if you want to be here for that, you need to be here at 7 o'clock for the discussion on our road proposal. That's next Tuesday, 7 o'clock. Council members know that we have 2 hearings, one at 5 and one at 6 on next Thursday. Adoptions and presentation. I am delighted tonight to resolve a man that most of us know, Dr. Harry L. Hobbs. I move the adoption of resolution number 13-955.
Second.
It's been moved and properly second that this resolution would be adopted. Any discussion? Hearing none. Those that support that motion, would you indicate by saying aye?
Aye.
Opposers, no. The City Council and the Mayor of the City of Huntsville, Alabama, are apprised that Dr. Harry L. Hobbs, Communication Relation Officer of the Huntsville Police Department, was recognized and honored on November 7, 2013, at his induction ceremony into the Army's Ordnance Corps Hall of Fame at Fort Lee, Virginia. He became the first missile system warrant officer named to the Hall since its inception in 1969, and joined 391 current Hall of Fame members that include Dr. Werner von Braun. Whereas he has held many varied career assignments, which include United States Army Soldier, Chief Warrant Officer 5, 1978 to 2007, Adjunct Professor at Florida Institute of Technology, 2002 to present, Professor of Military Science, Junior ROTC, Columbia High School, 2007 to 2010, and the City of Huntsville Police Communication Relation Officer, 2010 to present. Among his many awards, he was inducted into the Audie Murphy Leadership Club and the V Corp Distinguished Leader Club, and holds the Bronze Star for performing combat operations during the Gulf War Desert Storm. Whereas in 1969, when the Hall of Fame was established, Harry was a disadvantaged youth, being reared by his grandparents in Kentucky. About that time, he became involved with the local YMCA to escape the streets, where he was taunted for being biracial. He later excelled as a Boy Scout, becoming the first boy of color Eagle Scout in his scouting district. Whereas in 1978, he joined the Army and fulfilled his basic training at Fort Steele, Oklahoma. With his first assignment at Fort Knox, Kentucky, training as a field artilleryman. While at Fort Knox, he met his soon-to-be wife, Erica, who was reared in a military family. She helped to focus the young soldier, and he began receiving invaluable recognition, first with honors for things like Best Physical Fitness, Best Ruck Marcher, Soldier of the Quarter, NCO of the Quarter, and then his induction in 1985 into the prestigious Sergeant Morale Leadership Club. He served 4 years as a field artilleryman and 6 years as a missile system repair supervisor. In 1988, he was promoted early to Sergeant First Class and a warrant officer appointment, holding positions of training and leadership to mentor and train Ordnance Corps Chief Warrant Officers. In addition to mentoring young soldiers on the job, he and Erica worked through their church in mentoring kids. And whereas in 2007, Harry retired from his Army career at Redstone Ordnance Corps and was awarded the Legion of Merit Award for his value based on psychology and ability to train and mentor generations of soldiers into outstanding military leaders. He is a retired veteran who has left behind many achievements of a long military career to accomplish even greater things in his civilian life. Harry, thank God for all of his experiences during the many different stages of his life, and know they formed him into the man he is today. He is a mediator, a consensus builder, and a conduit to link people with resources for success. He can work with the disadvantaged because he understands from where they originate. He can work with highly educated and successful people because he sought out his own education and his own success. Harry knows everything God has given him is to help others, whether that be a young soldier just beginning his career or someone on the street who feel they have been mistreated. And whereas his major motivator was and is still his wife, Erica, their two daughters, Shara, 32, Shauna, 24. Shauna is an Army nurse, and Shara, who has also served in the Army, is married and has a family. Harry's faith has sustained him in all his deployments and through the challenge he has faced during his career. He didn't do these things he has always done for awards. He and Erica worked with youth as a young married couple and the youth in the community when no one was looking. The Christian thing to do is serve others and to make communities better. Harry sincerely believes his faith in God dictates that he gives back. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the City Council and the Mayor of the City of Huntsville, Alabama, that we recognize and congratulate Dr. Harry L. Hobbs upon his induction into the prestigious Army Ordnance Corps Hall of Fame. He did not let prejudice, discrimination, poverty define who he was to become. He is a man who loved God and people, who is supportive and caring and always willing to go the extra distance to help those in need. We salute and acknowledge him as an outstanding citizen in our community. Approved this 5th day of December, 2013. This document is signed by the mayor, the council president, Mark Russell, Richard Showers Sr., council president pro tem, Will Carver, Bill Clean, and John Oshesky. At this time, I'm going to ask Dr. Hobbs and his lovely wife to come up to the platform as we present this resolution to him. Doctor, I'm not going to read this, but I do want to say to you and your lovely wife, you make us proud here in Huntsville, in this state, and in this nation. The honor that you have brought this city, we are just blessed to have you. And then to have you on board with the city of Huntsville, we're doubly blessed. God bless and keep you on behalf of the mayor, 180,000 loving citizens, and the other full council members. We present this resolution to you and your wife.
It's not often that I'm a loss for words, but I do want to thank God, for without God, I would not be standing here today. Some of the soldiers I served with are no longer here today. So I stand on their shoulders. And I appreciate that this great city allows retired soldiers to continue to serve, and it's our honor. And I thank my wife for all of her support through all my endeavors. I thank my children, and what a wonderful country, and what a beautiful state, and what, a city like this, working together, we're a model for the rest of this nation. And I want to thank you, Dr. Showers. I want to thank you, Mayor Battle, the rest of the council members, and may God continue to bless the city of Huntsville. I'm honored to serve here.
What a delight. We have three other resolutions that are just for adoption only tonight. Resolution congratulating Bishop Daniel J. Richardson on their Phase 2 dedication and open house at Eagleness Ministry Church to be held on December the 8th. Secondly, a congratulation to Miss Shirley Ann McCrary on her retirement luncheon celebration that will be held at UAB in Huntsville on December the 12th. And a resolution congratulating Mr. Jack D. Lashley upon his success by earning a BA degree in individualized curriculum program physics/chemical studies from Chicago State University at age 85. These certificates will be presented to these honorees on those dates that I mentioned early. I move to approve these adoptions.
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded that these three resolves would be approved. Any discussion? Hearing none, those that support the motion, would you indicate by saying aye?
Aye.
It has passed. Business with outside legal representation, we have none for tonight. Are there other special recognitions from anyone? Public hearings to be held. A public hearing by Kirk Parker and Lula Parker doing business as Starship Limousine Service, set November the 21st, 2013, at a regular council meeting. Public transit, Mr. Brown?
Councilman Showers, this is a new limousine service that will be operating 4 limousines. They're not additional vehicles. They'll be purchased from a company that's gone out of business. The paperwork's in order, records checks have been done, and it's ready for your consideration.
Okay. Is there a motion from the council? Do I have to address that? Okay, I'm told that this is a public hearing. Mr. Raff?
Thank you,
Timberlake.
Dr. Showers. Happy post-Thanksgiving and Merry Christmas to all. My name is Ralph Timberlake, 2117 Atkins Drive, Huntsville, Alabama, 35810. I rise because we are talking about raising taxes for the road improvement to which this particular vehicle will be traversing thereupon. I ask that if you're going to approve this, that you raise the licensing fees to offset this so that the poor citizens of Huntsville would not have to be subsidizing all of the businesses that use the public transportation. I think it's only fair that they pay their fair share and that the poor citizens of Huntsville who do not have a business subsidize them. Thank you very much.
Other comments from the public? Hearing none. Motion?
Mr. President, I move for approval.
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded that this motion will be approved. Is there any discussion from council members? Hearing none. Those that support the motion, would you indicate by saying aye?
Aye.
Any opposers saying no? This item has passed.
Thank you.
Thank you. Public hearing to be set. A resolution to set a public hearing on an ordinance zoning newly annexed property lying on the west side of US Highway 431 South and north of Sutton Road to Highway Business C4 District, set for January 23rd, 2014, at a regular council meeting.
Mr. President, I would so move to set the hearing. Second.
It has been moved and properly second that this hearing will be set for January the 23rd, 2014, at a regular council meeting. Any discussion on that motion? Hearing none, those that support the motion, would you indicate by saying aye?
Aye.
Any opposers, say no. It has passed to be heard January. A resolution to set a public hearing on an ordinance rezoning property lying south of US Highway 72 East and on the north side of Old Gurley Road from Highway Business C4 District to Resident 2B District is set for January the 23rd, 2014, regular council meeting.
Mr. President, I would so move to set the hearing.
No second.
It's been moved and properly second that this hearing will be set for January 23rd, 2014. Any discussion? Hearing none, those that support the motion, would you indicate by saying aye?
Aye.
Opposes, no. It has passed. Communications from the public. Let me announce to all tonight that those who have signed to be heard, you would have 3 minutes to address the mayor and the council. If you go over just a second or two and you need another minute, we will grant you that if the council would permit. As I call your name, you may come to the microphone, give your address, and address your subject that you indicate on the sign-in sheet. Rusty Luski, and I'm probably not saying that right. I can't understand the writing.
Rusty Loisel.
Okay.
That was close, though. That was close.
Okay.
I'm with
Welcome.
Help the Homeless Veterans and Citizens, and I had something nice all written down here to speak about, but I just get the feeling the past few times that I've been here that people think that I'm just here to complain, and that is absolutely not what I'm here for. We're here begging for help. We're begging for help for our homeless veterans and citizens that are living in the woods. We're not asking for blankets and food and boots. We've all taken care of that. We've give them the things that they need to survive. What we are asking this city is give them a place to exist while they wait for the elusive housing that never seems to show up. Give them a place that they can stay without fear of eviction every time a police car rolls by. Just last week, the police were sitting at Tent City inside the gate just to intimidate people. We have no clue why. There's no reason for it. Those people in Tent City aren't doing anything wrong. And I want to debunk a couple things that have been used against the Tent City people. They say that there was a fire there 6 months ago and so much smoke come up over the highway. They're absolutely right. There was a fire. The problem is it was 3 blocks away. It was nowhere near Tent City. But still, Tent City got the notoriety for it. In the past, they said they burnt porta potties. That's why they don't put porta potties there. They're just vandals. They just burn them up. The truth is, the porta potties that were in there were supposed to be cleaned twice a week. The company that was supposed to do it did not clean them for 2 months. They got so disgusting, even the homeless couldn't put up with it. And nobody would come and pick them up, so yes, they did. They turned them over and burnt them. I don't know what else we would have done. We would have probably done the same thing. All we're doing is asking to let these people have a decent existence. I'm not saying living. They're not living. They're existing. That's it. We're just asking for help. And as far as the sales tax goes for the roads, let me just say that there was a study done, it was only about a month ago, that said that Alabama is probably the state that will smoke itself to death. They smoke more than anybody in the nation. Why not put 50 cents a pack on the cigarette tax and save all the people all the taxes? Thank you.
Okay. Just before I call the next signee, I'm going to ask Councilman John Oshesky if he would make a presentation.
Well, I asked Mr. Benyon last time he was here. I think, and I'm not disagreeing with what the gentleman's saying at all, except to say that there's a lot more going on and how we are trying to help the homeless and some things we're doing. I'm not going to say we can't do more, but Mr. Benyon, will you kind of give us a rundown of where we were and where we are and what we're doing?
Okay, first of all, as far as the Derrick Street camp, the property is owned by the state of Alabama. It's under the authority of the State Department of Transportation. We cannot authorize a camp there on their property if they don't want it there. So we will service the homeless people wherever they are located to, but we can't just direct them to go to one area or the other. We can't just say go over here, go over there. But where we do find homeless camps or homeless populations, we try to service them where they are because we have compassion for them. Our model in addressing homelessness is based upon a housing first option. We try to get the homeless people to get registered. What we found is of the homeless people, 10% of the homeless people with maybe some rent support for a few months, some utility support, will be able to get back on their feet. 35% of the people will need ongoing continuous services such as mental health, substance abuse, Narcotics Anonymous, Alcoholics Anonymous, and so forth to remain in housing. The other 55% will need some type of contact with these agencies to remain housed. Now, I'd like to give you some statistics, or I guess one of the last questions that was asked last week was the money that the city puts into homelessness. The city gives $40,000 to North Alabama Coalition for the Homeless, NATCH, and that goes towards the salary of the executive director. With investing that $40,000, the coalition, which is required by the federal government to get federal funds, was able to get over $700,000 in additional grants in order to assist the homeless in our area. Also, we give $83,830 to First Stop. This is used to supplement the salaries of the case managers. Now, when I talk about the model that we use, we like to get the homeless people to register. Once they're registered, then they can sign up for case manager services. We can find out what their needs are. If they need to get with mental health, if they need to get with substance abuse, if they just need financial counseling, then we can direct them. Now, out of compassion, of course, if we got people up under the interstate, we want to do what we can to help them, but the real thing is to get them into housing and get them from under the interstate, and that's the goals and where most of the funds that we spend are directed. I'd like to just give you some of the statistics or some of the numbers that of the things that we do for homeless. Each January we do what's called a point-in-time count. In 2010, there were 819 identified homeless people in Huntsville. As of 2013, it's 584. That's a reduction of 235 people. We, working through NATCH and the other members of the coalition, we added vouchers. We talked about veterans. About 14% from our records are veterans, which is about 82 people if we look at our last point in time count. We were able to get vouchers for Veterans Affairs supported housing. That gets them into housing and gets them the support services that they need. 115 vouchers we've achieved when we had 0 in 2008. We got Shelter Care Plus vouchers, 68 when we had 0 in 2008, which takes people off of the street. We've increased shelter capacity by 55 beds since 2011. We've served through the system, and we have a homeless management information system that we track everybody. We're required to have this by the federal government. 955 people, 126 of those were placed in the transitional housing, 174 were placed into permanent supportive housing, and the 655 were either prevented from being homeless or got into some other type of housing situation. And the big thing with what causes homelessness is poverty and the amount of affordable housing. And a lot of our funds are directed towards increasing affordable housing. Since 2009, we've increased affordable housing by 296 units. That includes 24 newly constructed single-family residences, 4 renovated single-family residences, 4 single-family residences that are under construction now, 58 newly constructed multifamily units, 70 renovated multifamily units, and on down payment assistance, which allows people to get affordable housing and purchasing housing, we've given 136 vouchers of $5,000 each to get people in affordable housing. So those are some of the things that we do. Now, when you see the people up under the interstate, and you see, I think the last count we had was about 15 people still residing there. Those are the chronically homeless, but we need them to come in for services so that we can help them. Now, I'm not saying that we're doing everything perfectly or that there are no problems with the system, but we are helping people, and we just hope that we can get these people to come in and get the services that are offered.
Councilman? Okay, thank you very much. Casey Brown.
How y'all doing this evening? My name is Casey Brown. I live at 199 Mimi Lane, Tony, Alabama, 35773. My father always told me that at the end of the day, the only thing you have is your name and the quality of work you do. We got leaders that were elected to represent constituents, and they talk in riddles. They say we should read between the lines. Let me give you some quotes from our community. I know y'all are trying to get out from under the DSEG, and I know the DOJ is being told that the community's fine with it, and it's not. Bob Harrison, the recent situation with Johnson High School is the last straw with regard to the amount of disrespect shown to our community. Alice Sams, head of the local chapter of the NAACP. I'm offended at how the superintendent disrespects people. Reverend R.L. Shanklin of the Greater Huntsville Interdenominational Ministerial Fellowship. The Ministerial Fellowship is 100% in favor of keeping the name of Johnson High School. Macaulay, in response to Bob Harrison's remark about the disrespect being shown to the officials, says what they call disrespect is what I call fair. She said Johnson is being merged with Butler and no students deserve a new name. I love how she glosses over the fact that not a single public meeting was held about merging Johnson and Butler with the communities of either one. It's amazing. For the longest, we've been saying they've been having secret meetings and speaking and technicalities and half-truths. It just blows my mind. Other half-truths from Macaulay. At the school board meeting on October 17th, Macaulay actually said that Butler is just a little over 2 miles from the new school site. Butler is 5.4 miles from the new school site. Butler is only 1.1 miles from Stone Middle School, which was the original Butler. So why are we forcing these students to go that far into another zone when they can go back to Stone? That school's been retooled, hasn't it? Am I wrong in that? Is it not workable? I don't understand the importance to throw everyone in this zone. No one can make me understand how throwing 4 failing schools under 1 or 2 roofs is supposed to be a good idea. No one can make me understand how, the Huntsville City School security, head of security is going to be there too? Y'all are building an academic prison over there. It just blows my mind. And then when you compare the curriculums to other schools, and I'm not just talking about Grissom. Grissom's getting ready to be the new North Huntsville because y'all are moving public housing over there and not even consulting them. It seems to me Central Huntsville is just getting all the love in this city. I need another minute, if that's fine. We have all been after the school board and Macaulay for not being honest with her constituents. We know they have done backroom deals and left the public out of the decision-making process. School board president David Blair even admitted this in Challen Stevens' article from December 2nd. David Blair, it's not one of those things where we sat down as a group and talked, said Blair. It was a plan that Casey Rudensky and Board Attorney J.R. Brooks put together and discussed with the Department of Justice. Where's the community input in that statement? Thank you.
Ralph Timberlake.
Ralph Timberlake, 2117 Atkins Drive, Huntsville, Alabama, 35810. First of all, thank you for allowing public input. And I would like, if my councilman would provide for me the city ordinance that allow for basketball goals to be put in our thoroughfares on our roads that we're getting taxes for, instead of having them free of any type of impediments and encumbrances that could cause damage to both property and people who are driving their vehicles. I want to start in because my major thing here is to talk about veterans. We do a lot of lip service to veterans, but when it get down to where the rubber meets the road, it's hard to find. I think one of our favorite presidents, John Fitzgerald Kennedy, said, "A nation is not known by the people that it sends off to war, but by the people it honors when they come back home," or something to that effect. I come here because in its wisdom, the great state of Alabama's legislature granted to Purple Heart recipients, men and women who have offered up the full measure but did not have to pay it, who are not allowed to go to certain public schools, i.e. in this case, Alabama A&M have openly declared that they will not honor this particular benefit granted to these veterans who have been wounded in combat in the defense of freedom. They're not willing to give them the opportunity to learn and to be a further service to their community and to their nation. I believe that this is a shame and a disgrace. While I know you gentlemen do not have anything to do with Alabama A&M, but I think as a resident, as a citizen, you have an obligation to entreat them. You know, we, A&M, have just been awarded a veteran-friendly accreditation as an institution. Yet, when it comes down to doing all that they can do for veterans, they shirk. I asked, I entreat, I beseech that those of you who truly believe in what is right and just for your veterans, what greater gift than you can give them than an opportunity to learn, to be a better, a more vigorous, a more gallant, and a more noble servant than to allow them to become as educated as they possibly can. We keep espousing the fact that education is the key that opens all doors. Yet, in the midst of us, one of our finest institutions, administration, has failed us. Y'all have I hope you had a happy Thanksgiving, and I hope you have a Merry Christmas, and give us those veterans of the Purple Heart what they deserve. Thank you very much.
Julia Lockwood.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and members of the council. For the record, my name is Julie Van Valkenburg Lockwood. I'm currently president of the Huntsville Area Association of Realtors. My address is 1406 Monterey Drive, Huntsville, Alabama, 35801. Tonight, I'm here on behalf of our association to encourage your support for the Mayor's Restore Our Roads initiative. As a working realtor, I see firsthand the importance of maintaining our quality of life and our ability as a community to continue to attract and retain good jobs and great people. Part of that quality of life is maintaining a short commute, planning for future growth, eliminating congestion and pollution due to gridlock or unsafe roads, being proactive in our planning. More than 50,000 people commute to work in and out of Huntsville each day from 14 surrounding communities, and our industry only sees higher demand and continued growth over the next 10 years. I grew up in Huntsville, and it looks very different from what it was when I was a child to today. We're a major regional hub for technology, medical, retail, and if we're going to continue to be a place that attracts the best and the brightest companies and people, and hopefully my children, to stay in Huntsville, we must adopt a comprehensive transportation plan that will fund our growing infrastructure demands. Huntsville Area Association of Realtors believes that this is the plan and respectfully request your support on this extremely vital initiative. Thank you so much for your time and all you do.
Jackie Reed.
Good evening. That's going to be hard to follow because you all know why I'm down here, but I'm not going to start off with that. Good evening. Thanks for allowing public input. Where were the ministers tonight? I believe that prayer must continue. Silent prayer just don't touch you or me like the ministers do in this city, and there's too many not to have one down here. Mr. Showers, you're doing a great job, and I miss Mr. Mark Russell. I see he's not up there tonight. I want to thank all the city employees for their hard work, for the good jobs that they do. I'm glad the chicken ordinance is not on this thing tonight. We got bigger than chicken ordinance. We got road projects. That's almost as big as the chicken. I think it's a little bit bigger and cost a whole lot more, but chicken ordinance will be around in January, I understand, and I'll be back with it. So much development going on in this city, and it's good. Infrastructure's good if you're putting it in the right place and at the right time. I believe it's not the right time for 1 cent sales tax. I am totally 100% that 1 cent sales tax at this time. Where I work, they're cutting 40 hours to 28 hours. People are losing their jobs because of Obamacare. Things are happening. The economy is bad. Look at the economy and look what's going on and stretch your imagination above. I won't be here with all these road projects going on. 17 years I've been waiting on Madison Pike. I hear it's in the LET program. How many years now from now on is it going to be LET? I don't see no work going on over there. 17 years I've been waiting for old Madison Pike. That's ridiculous. Somebody get somebody over there and get them started and make a believer out of me. Trying to come up with $25 million. Don't come to the people with this. I hear every day at where I work, city employees only get a 1% raise. We have cut back services till we really can't give them the quality of life in the city that we need to. We stripped the LEAF project out. You don't do LEAF, that saved millions of dollars, supposedly. Okay, I'll go along with that. Then city employees gets a 1% raise. I hear every day, we do not have the equipment to do our job with. Y'all don't want to hear from down. Government's not always from top down. Government runs from bottom up. When are you going to learn that, and when are you going to hear that, and when are you going to get involved in that? I have a problem with that. City police cars, over 100,000 miles on a lot of them. We do not even have enough police cars for the annexation, for all the stretching that we're doing. And you put $4.8 million downtown in streets, downtown streets. Is that not road money that we're wasting? Come on, people. A 1 cent sales tax. I see waste up here. Somebody a while ago said, let me tell you something. I said, no, let me tell you something. I've been coming up here 35 years watching government. I didn't come down here to preach tonight. It's Christmas. And thank God he loves me and I love you all. But you better do some thinking. Next year's election year. We need road projects. Do one at a time.
Ms. Reed, you need another minute.
Now pray for me and pray for you all, because like I said, elections are coming back up, and I think you waste a lot of money. I don't think you have your mind right. Appreciate you. Thank you very much.
Reginald Hill.
Reggie Hill, 627 Blake Bottom Road. In order to truly understand the mannerisms of people, we must first understand the thought process of people. Thought itself is derived from three particular things, those things being atmosphere, experience, and situation. In short, we examine atmosphere as a physical location, experience is what we had endured or been exposed to, and finally, situation as the current or ongoing predicament, or opportunity that is in existence. As a people, we must realize that thoughts, whether needed or disposable, can only do three things: either be put into action, given to someone else, or dismissed altogether. When we dismiss thoughts, we allow our brain to be filled with different information than what it previously possessed. When we give a thought to someone else, we release the pure control of the possible results. And when we choose, if bold enough, to act on our thoughts, we open a realm viable for reactions, new thoughts, and of course, new actions, regardless of if they're welcome or not. In a position of leadership, it is imperative that these particular individuals communicate the exact plan of action and a precise order of operations to those bodies being governed or instructed. Where there is confusion, however, questions are formed while thoughts are flustered. Where there is flustered thoughts, commotion and conflict are not that far away. In the great city of Huntsville, we are amidst a Board of Education that has thrown terms like transparency, equality, consistency, efficiency, and integrity completely out of the window. In the great city of Huntsville, we are led by a Board of Education that does not adhere to policy, neglects legal procedure, and reinforces the personal stigma of ill-mannered politics in the forefront of education. Who and we and how will advocate for positive change, if not the people? I thought the concerns of the constituents was the sole purpose of elected service. I guarantee you that many citizens, whether North or South Side residents, feel the contrary. Our money and power are so important that they each trump the lifestyles and futures of our children. A dreary cloud of chance has hovered over the star in Alabama. What process of thought will you as elected officials and you as citizens take for action in this situation? Our present experiences are the tools to Polaroid a positive future. If too adapted in your atmosphere of comfort and complacency, it is understandable to why you will not raise your voice in the sound of justice. However, those who have grown restless, like myself, we must move forward with solution-minded mannerisms that will advocate for progress, cohesion. May I have another minute, please?
All right, sir.
And monetary prosperity, which I know we all seek. I leave you with a quote from our 16th President of the United States. We are not enemies, but friends. We must not be enemies. Though passion may have strained it, it must not break our bonds of affection. The mystic cords of memory stretching from every battlefield and patriotic grave to every living heart and heartstone all over this broad land will yet swell the chorus of the Union when again touched, as surely they will be, by the better angels of our future. Speak up right now, because this is the time, while it's still calm, because there's a dreary cloud over the star in Alabama, and actions are going to take place, and we can either say what we did or we did not do for the great city of Huntsville and the quality of life. Thank you.
I'm trying to make out this particular name here. It looks like it's Charles. Chris Horn. Now, I've known this young man from a hand baby on, but I did not recognize his writing.
There you go.
I thought I was by myself.
I think you were
Chris.
part of naming me Chris, as a matter of fact. Good evening to the illustrious board in the city of Huntsville. Good evening to the mayor. Deep-throated opportunity that you've put out here. A lot of boards up with a lot of money surrounding us. And certainly I hope that we can have an opportunity to have a discussion on how the impact of the economic development of the north side of town and the south side is impacted by this great infrastructure plan. I do know that that number 18 is significant. It was my college football number, Mr. Battle, and it represented speed and it represented power and those things. I'm just a little concerned that we need to have a little bit more conversation, that we're taking those 18 minutes downtown and not collecting enough money from those people who travel before they get out of town. So I want us to at the very least start to have a conversation around how do we, with this new improvement, keep our retail dollars here. this is a regressive tax. And if this is a regressive tax, we need those people who are going to be commuting in and out to spend money in Huntsville, not just in downtown Huntsville, but in the north side and the south side. And that's not about equity, it's about dollars. So if the city of Madison is not a contributor to this, we shouldn't make it easier for them to come to work and go back home without spending some money right here in Huntsville. And secondly, I want to address the opportunity in terms of the contracts. I certainly would like to find out a little bit more, Dr. Showers, of whether or not we're going to have any content, if we're going to be spending over $100 million for contractors who are here, who have a permit here, not just a permit, but are going to hire people who live, work, and play here so that we can keep some of this money here. We often have contractors who may come from out of town, out of state even, but so much money here on the table. Is there a way that we can have the conversation around putting some sweeteners in here to hire some people to actually be from our community? Thirdly, I do have a concern about whether or not this is going to retire. A lot of times taxes do retire. I don't want a tax. I'm all about hoping that we can pull the money somewhere else. But as the mayor said, it is critically important to our infrastructure growth. I would like to find out more whether or not this tax is going to die. Most of them don't. So hopefully we have a plan in place that we don't have the tax. As Ronald Reagan said once before, we are the shining city on the hill. I just don't want us to be surrounded by a moat as we can create this shining city. Also, I want to be able to discuss the Maston Lake project specifically and how it may impact where our worship and service, the Fellowship of Faith Church, which is really at the corner of Maston Lake and the Parkway. And that area is going to be looking a whole lot different by 2017. And certainly we'd like to request how we can discuss how it's going to have an impact, the service road and the interchange there. Lastly, before I sit, I want to give my praises actually to a gentleman who I've known a very long time. I came to a meeting not too long ago, and certainly I heard some very derisive words that were said about him. I even heard someone call him Bull Connor, and certainly my mother grew up in Birmingham, and I can guarantee you, based on my family values and the things that I've seen, may I have a little bit more time, sir?
Give me another minute, Chris.
Sure. What I've seen in Huntsville, the city of Huntsville has progressed with its police department. They've become stronger, not only their ability to interdict crime, they've become smarter. They've hired people who look like their community. And certainly Rex Reynolds is a guy who I believe, since I was a kid, deserves to be uplifted and not to be called derisive names. So I do hope that the city of Huntsville understands that his service here to the city of Huntsville was outstanding. Certainly there may have been some challenges, but there always was a conversation. It's not always about the color, it's about the content of our character. It's all Huntsvillians. So I want to be able to say thank you to Rex Reynolds, and certainly I wish he was here tonight to hear. Thank you so very much.
Don Beck.
Don Beck, 2203 DeRussie Drive, Huntsville 35801. I'm here in support of the sales tax proposal for the road improvement plans. I think it's very good that it seems that all sections of the city will be served by this plan. I do hear from other parts of the state that the Department of Transportation really has a serious budget problem, and that if we don't take advantage of this right now, that this opportunity may not be afforded to us for another 10 to 15 years. If that is in fact the case, I think it would be foolish for us not to take advantage of this. Certainly, if this opportunity was brought forth to areas surrounding Birmingham Metro, Montgomery Metro, Mobile Metro, those municipalities would be all over it as best they could. We're all fighting for road improvement dollars. There is no question about that. I don't think that there's, for anybody that drives these roads and knows that we're growing in population and all the economic development that's being discussed around the greater Huntsville area, we're going to need most of these projects need to be done now. They certainly will need to be done before the next 10 to 15 years. In terms of the way it's being funded, sales tax to me seems actually a pretty fair way to do it. We're a retail hub, we're a medical hub, we're a government hub, we're a tourism hub. For all the counties in North Alabama, Southern Tennessee, people are coming to Huntsville. They're coming to Von Braun Civic Center, they're staying in our hotels, they're shopping at our places of retail, they're using our government services, and they're coming to Huntsville Hospital. They're going to spend money while they are here. as they're driving to and from the city of Huntsville, they will be spending money. That we all benefit as citizens of Huntsville from that. People I've heard have talked about gas tax and other excise taxes. A gas tax, if I'm in Decatur and I want to come to Bridge Street and eat, or I want to come to downtown Huntsville and eat, I can fill my car up in Decatur and what the citizens of Huntsville pay with their gas for all these road improvements, even though I may work in Huntsville every day. That just doesn't make sense. I think this is, I think it's the smartest way to go. Trust me, I don't want sales tax increase unless it's absolutely necessary. I'm very much in favor of low taxes, but I think this is a one-shot opportunity for our generation. I think we'd be foolhardy not to take advantage of it. And from the sources that I know of that the city of Huntsville can obtain revenue, sales tax is the most fair and equitable way to go. And that's all.
Jerry Cox.
Thank you, Mr. President Pro Tem. Jerry Cox, 4029 Telstar Circle. I wish first to respectfully acknowledge the 3 United States Army soldiers killed in the war since November the 1st. I am both pleased to report only 3 and sad to report that there were 3 more military personnel killed in the war. Regarding the sales tax issue on tonight's agenda, the mayor is to be commended for his aggressive actions on our road needs. However, I do have a problem with raising the sales tax to pay for roads, especially state roads that the yo-yos that we send to Montgomery, who do not have the backbone to solve the problem. You know, T, taxed, E, enough, A, already. It would be best, in my opinion, for a 3-cent per gallon gasoline, diesel, and motor oil tax, and I think that would be more appropriate for state roads. We would not even notice that increase with the fluctuations in gas prices in today's world. There are those already making their public appearances to call for looking at budget cuts. As you know, Mr. President, the budget is only 2 months old. At the meetings when the budget was approved, it was praised for the mayor for the budget that he had presented. It was noted that it was an austere and reasonable budget. And yet, 2 months later, there appears to be an effort to look for budget reductions. If there is waste in the budget now, it was there in October. If you have the authority, Council, please place the increase on gas tax. If you do not have the authority, please ask Mac McCutcheon to pre-file legislation to give you that authority. Thank you, Mr. President.
Andy Summers.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Andy Summers, 2206 Shades Crest Road, Huntsville, 35801. I came tonight to applaud you to have the guts to make the decision to bring forth a sales tax proposal to fund capital improvements in the city of Huntsville. I think it takes a lot of courage with the political climate like it is. I know it's a really tough decision for you all, and I applaud it. I think it's a good decision for the city of Huntsville. I won't really go into much detail except to say I support what Ms. Lockwood said, what Mr. Beck said, that you really plant the seeds and roots for a quality of life, economic growth, job relocation, and I'm glad to see it. I'm 100% for it. I don't like paying taxes any more than anybody else. I know it's a tough decision, but I think it is the right move. I was born here, raised here, went to school here. I intend to die here and send my daughters to school here. Very much invest in the community, and I applaud you, and I'm 100% for it, and good luck going forward with it. Thank you.
Board appointments. A resolution to reappoint Jesse T. Horton to the City Tree Commission for a term to expire October 8th, 2015.
So moved.
Second.
It has been moved and properly second that Jesse T. Horton will be reappointed to the Tree Commission. Discussion? Hearing none, those that support the motion, would you indicate by saying aye?
Aye.
Opposes, no. Jesse T. Horton has been reappointed to the Tree Commission. Are there any nominations tonight? Board of nominations. Board nomination.
Yes. Mr. President,
Councilman Cover.
I nominate Barbara S. Gamble to the Educational Building Authority of the City of Huntsville, Faulkner University, for a 6-year term.
Other nominations.
And Mr. President,
Councilman.
I nominate William Emmerich to the Educational Building Authority of the City of Huntsville, Westminster School, for a 6-year term.
Other nominations.
Mr. President,
Councilman.
I nominate James Bailey under the City Council Delinquent Board Appointments, James Bailey to the Bingo Review Committee for a 2-year term. And that's all, Mr. President.
Other nominations. Approval of expenditures. Councilman Kling.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for payment of vouchers in the amount of $9,535,696.66.
Second.
It's been moved and properly second that approval of expenditures will be approved. Discussion. Those that support the motion, would you indicate by saying aye?
Aye.
Opposes, no. Expenditures have been approved. Mr. Clay?
Mr. President, I'd like to turn the floor over to Randy Taylor, the Finance Director.
Council members, I just wanted to report, I don't have any figures to tell you, but I do want to remind you that on the agenda tonight, as I've already advised you, is a refinancing warrant for $6.4 million. That'll be a unanimous consent item for your action tonight, so I'll be glad to discuss that at that time, but I just wanted to remind you about that as you head towards that.
Councilman?
That's all I have, Mr. President.
Okay. Communications from the mayor.
Mr. President, I think I've already used up my 3 minutes worth, so I will pass to Councilman Bill Clean, I think, at your convenience.
Just before the council makes its remarks, most of you know now by the national media that President Nelson Mandela passed at age 95. Would you join me in just a moment of silence? Thank you. Councilman Klain?
Thank you, Mr. President. I have some comments I wanted to make about the sales tax road project issue that we've been discussing. First of all, I'd like to join in commending Mayor Battle for taking the initiative to bring this issue to us. The mayor has worked very hard with the Restore Our Roads program after literally the city was shafted by the State Highway Department. We had a plan, a commitment from them, and this is after numerous years where we've had substandard amounts of gas tax revenue coming back to North Alabama. Councilman Showers, you will recall that historically, over the years, whenever we have put in a overpass on the parkway, it's a state road, the city of Huntsville taxpayers have had to put in 20 to 25% of those overpasses.
Despite the fact that the economy is bad, the State Department of Transportation still has a budget with hundreds of millions and even billions of dollars. And what they have done to the city of Huntsville, I think, is just unbelievable. A commitment was made, and then they reneged. We have something on the table to look at. Before I can make any decision about that, I'd like to have every possibility looked at. Since the city of Huntsville is a regional area, I'd like to see if our friends and neighbors from the city of Madison and the Madison County Commission would participate and help us. Because as somebody had pointed out earlier, the western roads that we do, they provide a benefit for the people coming from the city of Madison, the city of Huntsville. But the idea would be to see, is there a way that we can come up with $25 million in our various capital plans times 5 years? Within our capital budget, there are projects that we have that perhaps would count toward the $25 million match. Taking a quick look, we've got money already in the budget for Northern Bypass, the old Highway 20 Phase 2 projects, and these are things that we can look at. But it would take a teamwork approach. Huntsville, as I mentioned earlier, has always been one of the very few, and then possibly it's even the only city that puts in the type of money that we put in these state road projects. I think we need to take a look at how we are being treated compared to other cities around the state. Some questions I'm going to be asking: how much money has the taxpayers of Birmingham, Mobile, Montgomery put into their various state road projects? Historically, the city of Huntsville, we've seen our sales tax our gas tax return from Montgomery to hover around 55 cents on the dollar. We were hoping that that was going to be going up, and we had promises that that was going to be going up. Some ideas that perhaps we could look at, and I think I've heard some interesting ones out there. The gas tax that one gentleman mentioned, the smoking tax that somebody else had mentioned. When we talk about a sales tax increase, we're talking about an increase in tax on food. We're talking about people who are trying to get by and they're having problems with healthcare premiums are greatly increasing. A lot of people are out of a job these days. I'm open to look at ideas and see what we can do. But again, the problem I think is just unconscionable that the State Department of Transportation would let us spend all the money that we've spent preparing, engineering for projects, and then they pull the rug out from under us. I'm open for ideas and see if there are alternatives that we can do. But certainly I agree that we do need to do something about the roads. But again, it just blows my mind that we would have this type of treatment from Montgomery when we have been a beacon for the state of Alabama. When we raise money, when we, when they look at which cities are bringing in job creation, the Huntsville area is at the top of the list. We help out on state road projects, as I mentioned. We are a beacon nationally that the state of Alabama looks at and says this is one of the things that we're proud of. I've got some questions that I'm going to ask Shane Davis to provide information for at the next meeting. This is not to try to stump you, and I know we have time, but just to give you some things to research and bring back, because I think it'd be helpful for us at next week's work session. If you could find out how much money Birmingham, Mobile, Montgomery have been contributing to state road projects within their respective areas. How much state road money are they projecting, those cities, Birmingham, Mobile, Montgomery, are they projected to receive over the next 5 years, and are they going to have to put in local money? How much are we currently receiving from here in Huntsville, Madison County for each dollar of gas tax that we send down to Montgomery? Is it possible that we could maybe work something out to get the city of Madison and Madison County government to help us, since they benefit from the road projects that we're talking about, state road projects? Do we know specifically if we do this 125 million match with the State Department of Transportation, that they won't renege again. I know it was said that there would be a legal agreement, but what happens when an administration changes? As I understand it, when a governor leaves office, whether it's the current one next year or the current one in 5 years, there's no guarantee that previous commitments that were made would be implemented by a later governor. So I guess I'd like to know how hardcore that would be to protect. Do we know where the State Department of Transportation is planning on spending their road projects statewide over the next 5 years? Do they have a long-term plan? I have been hearing talk, and again, this is rumor, but please check it out, that the Northern Bypass in Birmingham is receiving about $3 billion, and that's where all the money has been going, but that's the commitment that was made. Instead of a sales tax, what are the other avenues that we would have if we, to raise revenue? Again, one gentleman mentioned a gas tax increase. Another gentleman mentioned a cigarette tax increase. Now, these are things I'd be interested in knowing. But Jane, I'll give you this list, but if you could get that information, that would, give you till Thursday of next week. I think that would be of help. But, just a lot of questions I have and, different options I'd like to look at. But again, we need to do something about the roads in our city. And it's just unbelievable that the State Department of Transportation at the 11th hour would just pull the rug out from under us like this. And where the legislative delegation folks? That's all I have, Mr. President.
Councilman Kling, I'll get those questions after council and have them ready for the work session.
Okay, and I'll give you a list of it too. No.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Councilman John Oshieski.
Well, I want to ask the same questions that Councilman Kling asked, but I was with the mayor when we went to Gunnersville because I'm on the MPO. With the county was there and Madison City was there, and we were talking A-Trip dollars and we were talking about the future of where we're going. And then the mayor went on a 6-month Restore the Road program that all of us have been a part of, to include state reps, House reps, senators, state senators, county commissioners. We got to do something about the roads. It's as simple as it gets. And we'll look at all the options, but we're there. I got here in 2005, and I'm sure they had a plan, but in 2005 at Redstone, we knew 53 was broke. We knew Winchester was broke. We knew Zert was broke. We knew Martin Road coming in. And those are the roads that the mayor doesn't even call arterial roads. He calls those are interconnecting roads that we need to do, and we're working through those. But the big roads, we hadn't done anything about. And I don't know about you all, but Mayor, my commute, I don't come that far, but it ain't 18 minutes no more. Okay? When I leave my house now if I come in sitting in my office at 6:30, it's 18 minutes or less. But the roads are bad, and we got to do something about it. I'm not sure this is the answer, but I have all the confidence that the mayor has. Shane's going to come back in here next week with all these answers. I think I know almost all the answers because I've been on the MPO. But when I was campaigning 3 years ago, the one subject we always talked about every time was roads. Roads. And more roads. And what have we done since then? I'll share with y'all, we have a $17 million requirement just to take care of our general roads, of our own. And we get $3.2 million. I get about $600,000. And that, I'm sorry, that's $17 million, for those of you who don't know, is only the roads we grade over 40, which are really in bad shape. That's not counting the ones that are getting ready to go in bad shape. Those are just the ones, and we're not there. So I also say to the mayor, I actually am very comfortable that you have done everything in your power with this staff to get us as close to we can be at the point of financially you've taken everything you can out of there, and I'm very comfortable with that. I mean, Mr. Jerry, you said it best, I think. 2 months ago when we sat here and we talked about it, we're at low end right there, okay? And to ask to go back in and find more, if it's there, somebody's lying to me, and I don't think anybody's been lying to me, okay? So it's been roads and it's been more roads, and I'm interested in hearing how everything goes next Thursday. Being inundated with email now, both sides of the coin. I'm always open to hear both sides of the coin. But those of you that's never lived in a place like Washington, D.C., or Atlanta, or Los Angeles, or San Francisco, and I know we're not that big, I got it, but on a scale, if we don't do something, we're going to be in the same ballpark as they are, and it's very irritating, and 2 hours on a road going to work, and last but not least, I know we're in a big Boeing deal right now. We're chasing it like with the best of them. I'm hearing rumors that we're in the upper crust of that, and I would bet you that the roads, the ability to bring in blue-collar workers, not white-collar, all white-collar workers, will be tough if we don't do something about the roads. Thanks.
Councilman Cover.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would like to digress from what we've been speaking about for just a moment. Mr. Brown, Tommy Brown, I want to thank you for supplying us with the 5 buses and your staff for the Thanksgiving holiday event that we had going on. Impeccable crew of people to come out and work on the weekend. Thank you so kindly for that. Also, I did see Sarah Savage, Leadership Huntsville Madison County Director, here this evening. She may have stepped out. We certainly appreciate her being here. And Chris, it's always great seeing you, my friend. She is here. She had to leave? Okay, thank you, Chris. And my good friend Dave Hargrove, he is truly Mr. AT&T. We thank you for being here with us this evening. And you all have heard from Laura Lockwood this evening. Back to the budget. Now, let me say this, and Mayor Battle and I have been talking about this thing, and I'll say this publicly. I said I would never say it, but when I looked at this opportunity with the roads, the first thing I thought about immediately was, let's get our property tax up a little closer to what the property taxes are nationally, just a little bit closer. This was my thought process, okay? But then after I thought about that more in-depthly, that means that only Madison County residents would be paying for these road projects. Now, all along, I've been hearing from my constituents about the traffic. Now, the district that I represent is District 5, which is the west end of the city. If you were to try to come into Huntsville, just into downtown area or Cummins Research Park, and you live West Huntsville, try coming in at 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning. Every artery, there's a gridlock. I-565, University Drive 72, Old Monrovia, Old Madison Pike. There's just no way. Same situation in the evening. At 5 o'clock in the evening, traffic actually backs up on I-565 at those interchanges. So this, Mayor, is just an awesome idea for being proactive. And proactive is almost a misnomer because we really need it right now. It's not just for 5 or 10 years down the road. So when I look at this, fortunately or unfortunately, our sales tax is the largest revenue generator. Yes, we could go back and do some things and try and improve our privilege license and our building permits and our other sales, other taxes that are generated through other departments. But we're talking about $25 million a year. Additional. Sales tax is the way to do it. I say to all of us, this is an opportunity that we cannot afford to miss. If we miss this opportunity, all of those projects will probably not happen, I'd say probably in my lifetime. We have to do this. There is just no other way than to take advantage of this opportunity. I had several other things I wanted to say about that, but I'm really excited about this. I'm really looking forward to us moving forward with this. A 1 cent sales tax is going to put us consistent with all of the surrounding areas, and even with that, still under other major cities in the state of Alabama. I know it's a difficult time economically, but if we can just hold on, a 9% sales tax is consistent. And Mayor, I hope it's not just for a limited period, but for the most part indefinitely, because I see where we can do so much with that. You've heard us talk about our infrastructure. You heard us say that if we spent our entire budget just on infrastructure work, I mean, if we didn't pay a City of Huntsville employee, if we didn't provide any other services, if we only put those monies on roadways, it still wouldn't be enough. So now we've got an opportunity to get matching dollars from the state. I do know that these are state roads, and yes, the state should be responsible. The state has a $469 million deficit. This year is $434 million. It's not very hopeful that they're going to be able to do much for us absent this particular agreement. So let's continue to dialogue about it, and if someone has better ideas, I'm always open and receptive to them. I've heard some great ideas, and they will work, but it's not going to generate the kind of money that a 1 cent sales tax is going to generate. Just looking at this, our privilege license, we only generated $639,000. Building permits, we only generated $947,000. So to increase that $1 or whatever, or $2, is not going to generate the kind of revenue that we need. So it's unfortunate that we have to rely on sales tax, but there it is. Okay? That is all I have, Mr. President. Thank you, sir.
Let the record reflect, before we close tonight, that Council President Mark Russell was absent. Would you be reminded, council members, that the City of Huntsville Longevity Banquet, Burke Museum, 6 p.m. Let's not forget that. No unfinished business items for tonight. New business items for introduction. We have 3 items. They are introduction of an ordinance to amend Section 5.7, appointment status of Ordinance 04-315, Personnel Policy and Procedure Manual. That's Human Resources. 2, introduction of an ordinance amending Code of Ordinance, Article 3, Section 15-108 of Chapter 15, Sales, Use, Rentals, and Lodging Taxes regarding sale taxes, administration. 3rd, introduction of an ordinance amending Code of Ordinance, Article 3, Section 15-116, Chapter 15, Sales, Rentals, Lodging Taxes regarding use tax, also administration. Let the record show that we want to hold 15C and 15R. Are there other items you would like to hold tonight? New business items for consideration. 15A, resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement with the low bidder, meeting specifications as outlined in the attached summary of bids for acceptance. Ordinance to amend Budget Ordinance Number 12-768 by changing appropriated funding within various departments and funds. Request for approval to authorizations to advertise and fill the position of plumbing inspector, grade 15. Ordinance declaring certain properties as surplus and to be sold at public auction. F, a resolution authorizing the mayor to amend the contract with Reed Contracting Service, Inc. for Redstone Gateway Package 1L-1, mass grading, fine grading, erosion control, storm, and pond liners. Project number 65-12-SP23 by change order number 1. G, resolution authorizing the mayor to amend the contract with Reed Contracting Service, Inc. for Redstone Gateway Package 13-Rideout Road interim improvements. Project number 65-1, SP08 by change order number 4. H, resolution authorizing the mayor to modify the agreement with Bassfield and Gorey LLC for project management service, Redstone Gateway Package 1 and Package J, project number 65-13 SP20 by modification number 1. J, resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement with Land Design Solution, Inc. for engineering, design, and construction administration service for Maple Hill Cemetery Improvement, project 65-14-SP01. J, resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into a right of entry agreement between the City of Huntsville and the United States Army Environmental Command. K, a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute modification number 9 to the supplemental development agreement TIP 5 Series 2012-B between the City of Huntsville and LW Redstone LLC. Resolution authorizing the mayor to execute modification number 10 to the supplemental development agreement TIP 5 Series 2010-A between the City of Huntsville and LW Redstone Company, LLC. Resolution authorizing the clerk treasurer to invoke Region Bank Letter of Credit, number 55-105-849 for Twickenham Village subdivision. And resolution authorizing the clerk treasurer to invoke Region Bank Letter of Credit, number 55-105-855 for Twickenham Village subdivision. O, ordinance declaring a billboard located on Redstone Arsenal at the intersection of Research Boulevard and Interstate 565 as surplus and no longer needed for a municipal purpose. P, a resolution authorizing the city attorney to settle the claim of Myra Perez versus the City of Huntsville. Q, a resolution authorizing the city attorney to settle the workman's compensation claim of James Telkins. S, a resolution authorizing the mayor to apply for a grant with the U.S. Department of Homeland Security, DHS, regarding the FY 2013 AFG Assistance to Firefighters Program. T, resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into a license agreement between the City of Huntsville and 47 Inc., doing business as Downtown 47. U, a resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement between the City of Huntsville and North Alabama Coalition for the Homeless, Inc. for operation and maintenance of the Homeless Management Information System. V, resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement between the City of Huntsville and New Futures, Inc. for essentials and supported service for a 24-month transitional housing program for homeless families. W, authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement between the City of Huntsville and Rose Home for Children, Inc. for essentials and supportive service for a 24-month emergency transitional housing program for homeless mothers, especially teen moms. X, resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement between the City of Huntsville and Family Service Center, Inc. for service to be for the homeless population. Y, resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement between the City of Huntsville and Crisis Services of North Alabama, Inc. for the operation of an emergency shelter for victims of domestic violence and their children. Z, resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement between the City of Huntsville and Community Action Partnership of Huntsville, Madison, and Limestone County, Inc. for the operation of homeless prevention and assistance program. AA, a resolution to award the Boys and Girls Club of North Alabama, Inc. with CDBG funds in order to serve youth. Let the record show that I move to approve and consolidate the following: 15A, D, C, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z, and double A.
Second.
It has been moved and properly seconded that the following items will be approved. Discussion. Hearing none, those that support that motion, would you indicate by saying aye?
Aye.
Any opposers, if you would say no. 15C, that item will require unanimous consent. That is 15C.
Mr. President, I would move for unanimous consent.
Second.
It's been moved and properly second that we would have unanimous consent. Councilman Culver? Aye. Councilman Olszewski? Aye. Councilman Klein?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Motion to approve? Second. It's been moved and properly second that item C, that this motion would have unanimous consent. Those support the motion, would you indicate by saying aye?
Aye.
Opposes, no. The motion to approve unanimous consent has been approved. Mr. Taylor?
Yes, sir.
Item C, ordinance authorizing the issuance of a $6,460,000 general obligation taxable refunding warrant, Series 2013E. Explanation?
Yes, sir, Mr. Showers. The city borrowed money back in 1997 to finance the purchase of Cummings Research Park West land and used those proceeds to eventually develop the infrastructure there, and we know what we have as a result of that city effort. The city has been paying that debt off over that period of time, but we've been doing it differently. We pay it on a short-term basis. Every 3 to 5 years, we renew it. It's a taxable piece of debt, which is our only taxable piece of debt. It lends itself well for local banks to loan us that kind of money. It's small and it's taxable, and it's well suited for that. And so we've been doing it on a short-term basis and also keeping the interest rates down. So the current debt that we have in place of this amount matures on January the 1st, and this simply replaces it and will extend it. This will be the last time that we do this. It will run its course for 9 more years and then be paid off. The bids that we solicited from all of the local banks that were interested ranged from 2.43% interest rate to 3.84%. And Bryant Bank were very pleased with the proposal they gave us at 2.43%. And that's what you have before you to approve tonight.
Okay.
Mr. President, I would so move.
Mr. President.
It's been moved and properly second that item 15C would be approved. Any discussion?
Yes, Mr. President.
Councilman?
Mr. Taylor, and I know this is kind of a small debt for what the city usually does, but is this the most efficient way to proceed with this action instead of handling it any other way? I mean, just letting our local banks do it and give us a good rate that you quoted, I think 2.8 or 2.9?
2.43% on this
2.43,
one. Right.
okay.
It is, Mr. Culver, we believe. We, of course, conduct the bids among all the banks, so all those bidders have an opportunity, so we get a really good idea of the price out there. And so because it's taxable, it is more expensive than the debt that we usually issue.
Right.
But because of its small size, to include it in our other larger borrowings, we would have more cost associated with issuing that debt.
Okay.
There's not technically any underwriter's discount associated with this. The bank will receive a $16,000 fee.
Okay.
It's all reflected in the 2.43% I just reported to you. But it is for the amount of money and the nature of the warrant. Plus, it's short term, relatively speaking.
Okay, great. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. President.
Further discussion on that item? Those that support the motion, would you indicate by saying aye?
Aye.
Opposes, no. 15R, a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute a professional service agreement between the City of Huntsville and Market Plus Maine, Inc. for professional consulting services related to the development of a comprehensive master plan for the City of Huntsville. Mr. Davis?
Maston, Dennis Maston.
Dennis Maston.
Yes, this is
I'll get it right after a while.
You and a lot of other folks actually messed around. Dennis Madsen, manager of urban and long-range planning for the City of Huntsville. This contract is with a market development and research firm that basically is supporting the efforts of the comprehensive plan in an effort to obviously be very efficient with our money and with our resources. The execution of a comprehensive plan, we're doing a lot of it in-house. We're doing a lot of the land use, a lot of the engineering, a lot of the census work, things like that. We'll even do the public outreach primarily in-house. But actually doing market analysis and redevelopment strategies is something that I don't think staff really has the capacity for. So that was something that I think is very important to have as part of a comprehensive plan, and we just felt needed to be contracted out.
Council members, any just questions from you? Okay. Motion? Did I already make a motion?
Already on the floor.
Okay, motion? Chair remove.
Second?
Councilman Cover, second the motion. Those that support this motion, would you indicate by saying aye? Aye. Opposes no? That item has passed. Let me encourage the council, those of you who have had a chance to look at your package on the consultant group, I had a chance to visit with the data that was supplied by Dennis, and I was very impressed with the credentials of this consultant. And so we look forward to working with them on this comprehensive plan. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Let's move forward. Legal department items for transaction, vacation of easement. Ordinance authorizing the vacation of a portion of a 15-foot utility and drainage easement, Lot 12, Block 1, Walnut Grove, Phase 1 at Lake Forest Subdivision, 26 Walnut Grove Boulevard. Chair moves to approve. Second. It's been moved and properly seconded that this vacation of easement will be approved. Discussion. Hearing none, those that support the motion, would you indicate by saying aye?
Aye.
Opposes no. That item has passed. No vacation of right-of-ways, no deeds for acceptance, no routine bonds for satisfaction, no liquor bond mortgages, non-roster communication from the public. Ms. Reed.
I don't know if you'd call this a roster issue or non-roster issue, but anyway, I got to go back on this road. I like it. It all looks good. But again, when you sit up there and you make big decisions, like Council Court, that road coming in from Gomer's into Council Court, I don't know if the city's paying for that or the state. Sometimes it would be good if the public had a feel as to who pays for what in the city. I go to the Madison City Council meetings. They've got a price tag out beside each item that they're going to vote on that night. We know what the cost is and pretty much what's going on. So maybe you could learn something from that, or we could learn something from that. I don't know who's paying for that road. It was a waste downtown, $4.8 million, taking up bricks, putting down more bricks, and putting trees in the middle of a corner when you're trying to turn the curve. I mean, you know, I know we waste 53 into going up that road right there. Nobody ever talks about that. That should have been done. I've been in Huntsville 55 years. I've never seen so much. Hurry up, develop, annex, and hurry up, let's grab this and do this. And every person that spoke pretty much tonight was a developer, commercial developer of some kind that's for this. I'm for this, but you got to stop the waste. The taxpayers and the people are having a hard time out here. And like I say, you development, you got 1,500 acres out yonder. I don't know if you ever paid for it or not, but you bought it from the sewers for $35 million. Who's going to build those roads? I think I was in a meeting where they're already telling you what they're going to do with it. I hope it's not true. But I mean, I know these all need to be done. 53 needs to be done. I come in from Athens, from Dale Jackson Talk Show. I'll be going over there quite again, I'm sure, about this road business. You cannot get back into this city because of the traffic. You can't get out of this city because of the traffic. Go down Old Madison Pike. You all want to live in Madison? Y'all want to move to Montgomery and Atlanta and New York? Well, pack up and get on out of here. I don't want to live in a big city. It's like the chickens. If you want chickens, go to the county and go to the country. I love you and have a good night. Thank you.
Yes, sir. State your name.
James Brown. I'm at 1228 Willowbrook Drive, Huntsville 35802. I'm the current president of Huntsville South Civic Association. And I was a little late getting here, and the sign-up list had already made it to the front, so I missed the sign-up. But I just wanted to speak on the road incentive. You know, the national economy over the last 6, 7, 8 years has really struggled, depending on where you've been, and a lot of cities have had a lot of problems. And Huntsville has seemed to, weather that storm for the most part. And much of that is, due to the actions of the council and the mayor and the councils and the mayors during that time, and probably even more to Mr. Taylor and his staff, who've managed our budget and done that conservatively. And we appreciate those efforts. I don't know anyone who wants to raise taxes or pay more taxes. I know I don't, but I also know that for my community in South Huntsville to move forward, we need South Parkway finished. We need South Parkway finished. It keeps getting pushed back and pushed back. We don't need the traffic jams. We don't need the slowness. We've got a new high school going to be built. We need traffic to be able to get in and out of that new high school. We're fortunate to have a few new subdivisions. They're all in the south end, down behind Walmart, Hobbs, down near Farley. Those folks need to get in, be able to get into the parkway, get where they need to go, get back home. And we only have 2 ways to do that, and that's the parkway and Bailey Cove. We need South Parkway finished. We have some empty buildings on South Parkway, business, and I can't imagine a business person coming in and opening a business or putting money into those existing facilities when they know there's going to be road work. Problem is they don't know when. Next year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years. Nobody wants to open a business and 3 months later, a year later. They need to know. We need South Parkway finished. We can't pass a opportunity to pick up this $125 million from the state. I don't know if we'll ever get that opportunity again. We've got it now, and we need to take advantage of that. So, we support that initiative. We'd asked our council members to support it, the 2 that represent South Huntsville. We have been fortunate in Huntsville to survive and grow because we've had vision. And we need this for the future. So thank you.
Mr. Hill.
Thank you, Mr. President Pro Tem, council members, mayor, administrators of the city. We appreciate the opportunity to speak. I commented earlier on transparency, particularly on the level of leadership. When we as citizens are placed on the back burner or places if we are not to be considered, we cannot expect anything but ill-managed hostility to commence. But instead of continuously coming with complaints, as citizens, we also should produce solutions or proposals or proclamations that can be used as solutions in the various efforts. So because of that, I have proposed some solutions for some of the issues that are going about in the city. And I will present the documentation and literature to the councilman and mayor afterwards. I want to propose to you the Board of Community Engagement. The purpose of this board will be to bring to the attention of our elected officials and city leaders the issues that disrupt and corrupt the community at large. In essence, to adhering to the vision of One Huntsville, the board will propose solutions to various issues in efforts to lessen the workload of our city administrators and better the overall quality of life. The mission statement is as follows: be engaged that you may be proactive. Be an example that you may demand proficiency. Be optimistic that you may be well-rounded with the ideas of others. And be persistent that your efforts will remain consistent and not go in vain. The goals of this board will be: implement programs that foster a strong home establishment. Implement programs that uplift community awareness and involvement. Recognize and reward individuals or groups that cultivate a better quality of life for all citizens. Implement programs that foster purpose in education, employment, and social awareness. Raise funds to enhance education, prevent poverty, advance technological assurance, promote fine arts, and beautify our neighborhoods. I will not go into the details of the positions, but I will let you know what their titles will be. There will be an advisor, an advising consultant, administrative recorder. There will be a liaison to economics, education, beautification, and government. Each member must be at least 18 years of age, as well as there will be other additional requirements that you can read. I would like to share with you, however, the creed of reverence and expectations. This board is formed to create awareness for those community issues that go unseen or rarely get recognized in the busy shuffle of the everyday lives of our city leading officials. With courage to challenge all forms of negativity, this board is formed to develop cohesion between leaders, voters, and common citizens alike, with a desire to uplift all people and put down no person, with an ambition to progress and never regress. May I have one final minute, please?
Go ahead.
Thank you, sir. And finally, with the massive responsibility to simply make this world a better place, this Board of Community Engagement is formed. We would like to implement through this board programs that will help establish the better quality of life. I have also prepared a proposal for you and how this can be done. You each will have this as well. I ask that you would please utilize the information before you, as well as the contact information if you have any further questions. I'll get this to the administrative aide, Ms. Pearlie, and she can get it to you. Thank you so much for your time. And God has indeed blessed each of us. Let us now use our abilities and positions to bless God.
Mr. President.
Councilman Cover.
Thank you, sir. If I could take just a moment, please.
Go ahead.
Mr. Brown, James Brown, sir, the comments that you have made as it relates to South Memorial Parkway, Councilman Olszewski and I have been talking about that. It's pathetic. And you said if your two South Huntsville council members would vote on whatever it is that you're trying to do, I just want you to know that you have a third vote, sir, and that is my vote. Because people coming into Huntsville South by way of 231, the first impression they get of Huntsville is South Memorial Parkway. Coming north the same way. So we're going to continue to work. We're going to continue to work on our main corridors to make it more reflective of Huntsville, Alabama, both from the south end and from the north end. Thank you, sir, and I look forward to working with you. Thank you.
Further business by the councilmen.
Move to adjourn.
This meeting is officially adjourned.